Hi, my name is Javeria and I'm a first-year engineering student at Monash University, Australia. So for me, questions like will I get into a reputable university and what major would be right for me were of utmost concern after high school. And I'm sure a lot of us feel lost making these decisions. However, StudyCo has been immensely patient and supportive throughout this journey. The support and guidance provided by Ms. Mubaraka and the effort she took to go above and beyond for my future gave me a sense of security and relief. Additionally, StudyCo has been accommodating and extremely understanding, and that is why I would strongly recommend StudyCo to anybody.
Hello, I am Jason Matthias and I went to Indian School Muscat and graduated in the year 2017. I then approached StudyCo, specifically Miss Annette Rosario, to gain help in pursuing my studies in the United Kingdom. It was a very smooth process from the beginning till the end. The list of required documents were given to me well in advance. The procedures were laid out very well, and the visa procedures were explained thoroughly. With the help of Miss Annette and her persistent work towards my application, I was able to make my way into Solent University in Southampton, United Kingdom.
Everyone, my name is Rochelle Vaz and I'm a former ISMite. After
Hi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Right, sir.
Yeah.
We will now even the minister will introduce you and start.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Hmm. Okay.
Good morning. This is Anjusha Matthew of class 11J from Indian School Muscat, your host this morning. Honorable Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian School in the Sultanate of Oman, Dr. Baby Sam Samwan, Honorable Members on the Board, President in Indian School Muscat Management Committee, Mr. Ajay Kumar Pillai, esteemed members of Indian School Muscat Management Committee, our Honorable Principal, Dr. Rajiv Kumar Chauhan, Presidents and esteemed members of all Indian school management committees in the Sultanate of Oman, Honorable Principal, Vice Principal, Assistant Vice Principals, Supervisor, Coordinators, Heads of Departments, Teachers, Parents, and Students. Avenir 2020, where you will get the right direction to your dreams and live the life you imagined. At the outset, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to His Majesty Haitham bin Tariq Al Zayed and his government for their benevolence towards the Indian community in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and this beautiful nation. I'm extremely pleased to welcome Dr. Baby Sam Samwan, the Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman, and all the members of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. A hearty welcome to Mr. Ajay Kumar Pillai, the President of Indian School Management Committee, and other esteemed members of Management Committee, Indian School Muscat. I'm privileged to welcome our dear Principal, Dr. Rajiv Kumar Chauhan, Principal, Indian School Muscat. Presidents and the members of the management committees of Indian schools across the Sultanate. I extend a sincere welcome to all the principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisor, and the entire teaching community from all the Indian schools in Oman. I would like to welcome all the wonderful parents and students without whom this event will not serve the purpose. Thank you for joining us this morning. Last but foremost, I extend an arousing welcome to our speaker of the day, Dr. Shyam Mohan. Sir, it's a great privilege to welcome you on this virtual platform. Dr. Shyam Mohan is a multidimensional career holder. He is known for blending art with science and tuning science with art. Dr. Shyam Mohan, who is presently working as Group Director VSSC, has joined career with ISRO 31 years back, and since then he has been closely associated with the development of control system for various launch vehicles, including the giant GSLV Mk3. Sir has been a prominent figure in Ghazal stage and also an actor who acted in a super hit Malayalam film of the great filmmaker K.G. George. Visual speaks more than words. So, dear viewers, exhibiting a beautiful video to apprise about our speaker of the day.
An alumnus of the Government Engineering College, Thrissur, and IIT Madras, Dr. Shyam Mohan's passion lies in propelling young minds to reach for the stars and grab them, just like sending rockets soaring to the great beyond. The mastermind behind Indian Space Research Organization's RLBTD, he is also a prominent figure on the Ghazal stage who has been blending art with science and tuning science with art. He has even acted in a super hit Malayalam film of the great filmmaker K.G. George. So, who better to address us at this celebration of opportunities than a multi-dimensional career holder like Dr. Shyam Mohan? A warm welcome to you, Dr. Shyam Mohan.
Thank you, Faizan Najib of Class 11E for the illuminating video and Michelle Ellen Joseph of 11C for the voiceover. We're all ears to hear you, sir. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Hope I'm audible and visible to all of you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Respected Board of Directors, Chairman and Director and other members, School Management Committee President, members, and principal and staff members of Indian School of Muscat, and my dear students, parents, a very good morning to all of you. First of all, let me express my sincere thanks to the organizers of this event, especially the President of the School Management Committee, Mr. Ajay Kumar Pillai, for inviting me for this talk, and the Principal, Dr. Rajiv Kumar Chauhan, for the efficient coordination. Even the last minute, he was on phone and helping me without any this thing. And because normally I'm a cool person, so normally the organizers will be in the tension at the last minute. So I can understand, but he was very cool in getting into this webinar link. So thank you, all of you, for giving me this opportunity, inviting me for this talk, and actually this opportunity to talk or interact or share my thoughts with my favorite audience, that is the students, because you are at the entry point of a challenging or a wonderful journey called life. So you are near the entry point. So addressing you or enlightening you will give me a satisfaction that I have given some enthusiasm or some spirit or some motivation to the people who are entering the journey. So that way, my thanks to all of you for this opportunity. Also, my hearty congratulations to the organizers of this Avenue 2020, covering a wide spectrum of disciplines. So I was really impressed by seeing this, how the different domains were selected. It's really appreciable. So I request all students to utilize this opportunity to realize your strengths. how you can realize your strength from this webinar series. While listening to various discipline or various domain experts, you watch yourself carefully. You look inward. Which one is giving you a spark inside, or an enthusiasm within you, or a positive feeling when you are listening to that? There lies your inherent strength. That is your area. That way, if you apply, if you give your mind rather than giving your ears and eyes, you give your mind to this series of lectures, and then you can, because it's very important, it is irrelevant which area you work or if you select, but it is very important to select your area. So you are destined for some area that earlier you identify, the better. So with this piece of advice, so after taking you to space, because I'm working in Indian Space Research Organization, so I had to take you to space, and then we'll come back to Earth and talk more on this, the value of life and the success in life, how to choose this thing and things like that. So a little bit of that aspects also we'll cover. The first, as a person who is working in Indian Space Research Organization for the last 35 years, it is not 31 years, it is 35. All these things are color, so I'm really old. So don't mistaken me as an young scientist, so very old scientist. So it is my duty to enlighten you on the space science, space technology, and space enterprise. So in general terms, I will touch upon only what is available in the public domain, because as a government officials, we are having some this thing written down, guidelines to tell what and not tell what. So it will be, I will make it interesting for the students and give you an overall perspective of the space, science and technology and enterprise. And if you are having that ambition to choose that career, what are the opportunities and things like that, we will touch upon. So the journey in India started in 1962. As a committee, it was formed as Indian National Committee for Space.
An alumnus of the Government Engineering College, Thrissur, and IIT Madras, Dr. Shyam Mohan's passion lies in propelling young minds to reach for the stars and grab them, just like sending rockets soaring to the great beyond. The mastermind behind Indian space
Due to some technical difficulties, Sir will be joining us shortly.
Research Organizations, RLBTD. He is also a prominent figure on the Ghazal stage who has been blending art with science and tuning science with art. He has even acted in a super hit Malayalam film of the great filmmaker K.G. George. So, who better to address us at this celebration of opportunities then a multi-dimensional career holder like Dr. Shyam Mohan. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Shyam Mohan.
Yeah, sorry for the disturbance. I don't know what happened in the link. So is it audible now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know. Because the computer network heard that I am telling that I am cool. So I just wanted to check how cool I am. So probably that may be the reason. So let us see. So I don't, I'm sorry, because I had to feel sorry for you. So many people are waiting for this one. Huh? Okay, then let us start the story of the space science and technology here. Okay, it all started in 1962 as a committee, Indian committee, National Committee for Space Research in COSPAR, and Dr. Sarabhai was made as the chairman of this committee. And then in 1963, November 21st, the same day, today is 21st November, so exactly 57 years back, we launched the first rocket from the Indian soil. That place is where I am working now, Tumba, in Thiruvananthapuram, the capital of Kerala, the God's own country, what you are all familiar with. So here it started in 1963 by launching a rocket named Nike Apache. It was a bought-out rocket, and we wanted to learn the rocket launching procedures, things like that. Then ISRO was, as an organization, it was formed in 1969. So then we started with the sounding rockets first, the Rohini sounding rockets, small size rockets of 220 centimeters, 30 centimeters, 56 centimeters, sort of things, to mainly to study the atmosphere. Why Tumba was selected for this space science activities is very important to know. So the Tumba in Thiruvananthapuram lies on the magnetic equator of Earth. So for ionospheric studies and other atmospheric studies, it is very important to have a launching platform in the near the magnetic equator. So that is why this place was not just because of the beauty of this place, which captured the mind of Dr. Sarabhai and Dr. Homi J. Baba, all these people. This is the scientific reason behind that. And then it all started from that launching. Then these sounding rockets were made. This RS-560 can go up to 550 kilometers. It can go to ionosphere and do the studies in the ionospheric studies and all sort of things. Then we launched the Aryabhatta, the first satellite of India in 1975. And we launched from a Russian launch vehicle. At that time, it was USSR. At this juncture, I just wanted to highlight the students to have an appreciation of the services rendered by satellites. So why we are doing and spending all these things and spending all these efforts and this thing for space science and technology. Mainly the space assets are satellites, right? And this what a satellite can do, we are doing this Avenue 2020 with the help of satellites. We are doing all the WhatsApp chats, WhatsApp video calls, and all the international calls, everything by using service of satellites, communication satellite. Then we are doing all the ATM and networking all the financial institutions and stock markets and the banks, everything together by the satellite links. Then we are having the disaster management, a lot of services like that. So the entire world is networked with the so-called eyes in the sky. So that's the main benefit of satellite. And broadly, if you are telling, we are having different types of classification for the satellite. One is the remote sensing satellite, other is a communication satellite, then the third is the navigation satellite, and fourth is a scientific satellite, and finally the interplanetary satellites like Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, and sort of things like that. So let us understand briefly about these different classification. The remote sensing satellite will do the mapping of Earth, mainly like a CT scan you are doing on a patient in the hospital or a laboratory. The Earth will be scanned by the satellite. So we can position or we can design the journey of a satellite in such a way that it is crossing over New Delhi at 10 a.m. every day, or it is passing through Chandigarh at the time of 11:30 or whatever you want. So depending on the illumination, what we want to capture the photos and other data from the ground. So this remote sensing, it is sensing from the remote place. That's why it's called remote sensing satellite. So remote sensing satellites are used mainly for agriculture purpose, the crop management, the disaster management systems, and water resources identification, groundwater resource identification, then oceanographic studies, the potential fishing zones can be identified, and urban planning and mapping, all sort of things can be supported by a remote sensing satellite. Then the communication satellite, the so-called your mobile phones and your TV channels, all these things are the rescue operations, everything can be done by the communication satellite. Then the navigation satellite, you may be familiar with the GPS system of USA. So we are also having a similar system, Gagan, IRNSS, and we are developed. So the navigation satellite will help you if you are lost in your way, in a desert or in a sea. So you can get the coordinates where you are, and that satellite data can guide you to come back to the Earth or come back to your city or a town or whatever you want. So that's very popular nowadays. So that's the navigation satellite. And scientific satellites is mainly for studying the atmosphere, then outer space activities and other planets and things like that. That goes like the scientific satellite. Then, okay, these are the broader classification. Then what is the challenge in these satellites? For example, this communication satellite. So you have to appreciate the fact that the Earth, from the Earth, the satellite has to remain relatively stationary. Then only it can support all these things. So the so-called eye on the sky means the eye should be stationary with respect to the position. Then only we can get the data and things like that. So for that, what's the challenge? Our Earth, it is rotating at a speed of 460 meters per second. You can imagine. This Earth, what we are living, and all of you are sitting, all the students are sitting in the chair as if you are stationary. The entire ship called our Mother Earth, it is rotating, it is spinning at a speed of 460 meters per second. 1 second is this much. So in 2 seconds, it is having about 1 kilometer. So that sort of a speed it is spinning, and it is rotating around Sun at a speed of 30 kilometers per second. 30 kilometers per second. 1 second, it is traveling at a distance of 30 kilometers. So if the Earth is rotating as 460 meters per second, the satellite has to rotate. What is the speed of sound? It is, had it been an interactive session, I would have allowed the children to answer these questions. So here, to save time, I myself will answer the question, and Go ahead. It is 343 meter per second. So the satellite has to travel at a velocity 25 times the speed of sound. So it's around 11, ideal velocity is around 11.2 kilometer per second it has to travel. So in such a speed, it has to be injected in the precise orbit so that it can do the service. And it has to be maintained at that orbit. And the data has to be captured from that orbit continuously. And all these things are the challenge for launching and maintaining a satellite. So that we have to appreciate. When you are doing the WhatsApp chat, you should remember the hard-earned effort of a lot of scientists and engineers behind enabling that technology for you. Even this, the video conferencing and this webinar, this thing that Zoom, all other platforms. So this derived benefits of the intended planning of the tele-education and telemedicine services made by the spacefaring nations. So the tele-education and telemedicine was mainly intended for servicing the remote places where you cannot go and reach. But now the pandemic has made all of us to restrain your locations. You cannot travel outside. So whatever we have done, that space infrastructure and other technology, whatever we have enabled, has come to rescue now. So we can work from home, we can do everything online, we can purchase everything, and we can have the even the classes in online services. Okay, these are the broad advantages of satellites. So now coming to the satellite launching, we have to have a satellite launch vehicle. Vehicle which can inject the satellite at this velocity at the precise orbit. So different orbits are there depending on the satellite services. Low Earth orbits are there. Geo transfer orbit is there. Geosynchronous orbit is there. Geosynchronous orbit is 36,000 kilometers from Earth. So there are a lot of mechanisms to inject all these things. And so we have started the game with the SLV, that satellite launch vehicle SLV-3, for which our beloved Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir was the first project director for this SLV-3, the first expendable launch vehicle of India. And in 80s, we have launched the first satellite Rohini in our indigenous launch vehicle. Then we have augmented that technology by the ASLV, Augmented Satellite Launch Vehicle, increased the payload capacity of this vehicle. And then we have introduced the solid propulsion as well as liquid propulsion technology in the PSLV vehicle, that is Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. Why Polar Satellite means it was started injecting the polar orbit with North Pole to South Pole. That the remote sensing satellite has to travel like that. Then only you can scan the Earth or our country or whatever place you want. So that is the PSLV. The PSLV used solid as well as liquid propulsion engines. Then came the bigger version, the GSLV, geosynchronous satellite. For the communication satellite, we have to go to geosynchronous orbit, 36,000 kilometer orbit. For that, we have made a geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle, that is the GSLV. It started with 2.2 tons capability, the GTO. Then it was that payload was increased to further. And then for a bigger capacity, nowadays satellites are becoming slightly bigger. So the 4-ton plus capability, we have made the GSLV Mark III vehicle. All these things are expandable launch vehicle, SLV, ASLV, PSLV, GSLV, and the Mark III, everything. Expandable means after putting the satellite, the entire launch vehicle is lost. That means every stage will be burned after its function. Though if you look at the cost of the launch vehicle, the cost of launching a satellite, it is huge. It is 125 crores or 130 crores, 140 crores, depending upon the satellite size and the orbit size, it varies. But for a single injecting, we have to spend that, we cannot reuse. For example, you people, when you are traveling from India, Bombay or Chennai or Delhi from your working place, Muscat, and then if you are, that aircraft is scrapped or rejected after one flight, after one single flight, then your cost of travel is the cost of that aircraft shared by the number of passengers. You can imagine that. So Why aircraft you can afford to have a very minimal expense? Because it is going and coming back. It is reusing that same vehicle, like you are using a car or you are looking at any transport vehicle. So at concept of space transportation also emerged. So we want to have a reusable launch vehicle, which can go to space and then come back and land in Earth and again go back, like the space shuttle, or the new concepts are emerging in other countries also. So we also try to have a reusable launch vehicle, and then identified, we have done the system engineering for that, because in space technology, committing a mistake will be very expensive, very expensive. So we have to make sure that everything is the right path before venturing into a project. So we have started with the system engineering for identifying what should be the vehicle, what are the technologies required, what are the challenges for a re-entry. There should be a re-entry means wings should be the Y wings, because from going from Earth to space, you have to inject this satellite at this particular velocity, and then when you can forget about the final stage of this thing that will be orbiting in the space, and finally it will be having an orbital decay, and finally it will burn to ashes while it is re-entering. So for coming back, we have to kill this kinetic energy. So that 25 times the speed of sound, what I am talking about, that around 12 or 11 or 10 kilometer per second, that kinetic energy, how we will manage, because energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. We can only convert from one form to other form. So the kinetic energy, this such high kinetic energy has to be transformed to heat energy by drag. So while we are entering that atmosphere with the wing, the drag will be created. This drag will generate a lot of heating. So the speed will be reduced because of this energy transformation. And slowly, by proper guidance, it will re-enter the atmosphere. So that entire vehicle has to be protected, because aluminum alloy, you know, it can withstand only up to 120 degrees centigrade. And even the steel can withstand only up to 400 to 500 degrees centigrade. So when we are entering this atmosphere, temperature equivalent of 2000 degrees centigrade plus will be experiencing. So normal temperature, your material cannot afford to have such a high temperature. So we have to have a thermal protection system for that. Ceramic based materials and other new concepts are there, which are proven in elsewhere also. So the thermal protection system has to be there for covering the entire vehicle. Then one pilot has to guide this vehicle. So for such a speed, 10 plus kilometer per second, you cannot imagine a man sitting in the cockpit and flying that. Okay, of course, the human brain is powerful than any computer. We have yet to realize the full potential of a human brain. But the present scenario demands for a computer. That computer will have the control function for this. So a digital autopilot has to be there. And that pilot will do all these control functions, and we have to have all the simulation in the ground. And finally, we have to make sure that everything is perfect, and we have to do this thing. So we have done a technology demonstrator for all these things, and RLVTD was successfully accomplished. And then that is the story for the reusable launch vehicle sort of thing. It has to be made in a bigger way, and things like that. The other countries are also doing this similar thing. So these are the overall perspective of the satellites as well as launch vehicle. So mainly the reusable launch vehicle means the main objective is cost reduction. Other is, for the expendable launch vehicle, the final stage will be orbiting after the satellite injection and orbiting in the space as an unwanted thing. So that can cause unwanted debris in the orbit. So space debris is a big challenge, because if it is hitting with other satellites or other space assets, it will create a lot of havoc. So we have to reduce the space debris. Then other thing is, if you're having a reusable launch vehicle, you can capture the space-based things, and you can do the in-orbit servicing. You might have heard about the costliest project, that is Space Hubble telescope project of NASA. So that was very expensive. So after launching, after some years, it developed some problem in orbit. So what they did is in the space shuttle, they have gone there and captured that Hubble Space Telescope in orbit, and then there itself they have serviced it. So they could save a lot of money and a lot of efforts in that. The Hubble is doing a good service even now. So like that, then refueling of satellite. This life of the satellite is limited by the fuel it carries for the maintaining the orbit or maintaining the attitudes and things like that. So once the fuel it contains may be sufficient for maintaining for 10 years or 7 years or 11 years. After that, if you can go there and refuel it, you can again enhance the life of that satellite. Like that, a lot of advantages that are there for the reusable launch vehicle. So these are all the overall picture of the satellites and launch vehicle. And now we will come about this thing because you people are looking for how things are going here. So as I told you, the lead center, we are having the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, which is doing the launch vehicle, lead center for launch vehicle. These things are available in the public domain, the internet also. Then we are having a liquid propulsion system center also focusing on the liquid engine parts and the cryogenic engine part for the GSLE and GSLE Mark III. Cryogenic engine, all of you might have heard the challenge of cryogenic engine by handling the liquid hydrogen as a fuel. The hydrogen gas is liquefied at 20 degree Kelvin, that is minus 253 degrees centigrade. It has to be cooled and maintained at that temperature, as well as the liquid oxygen also at the 80 degree Kelvin sort of thing. So these are the challenges involved in the cryogenic. So these things are handled by the Liquid Propulsion System Center, and we are having a testing facility at the Integrated Propulsion Research Complex in Mahendragiri, and then the satellite-based things are done in the URO Satellite Center. Then there is a satellite application center which is focusing on the payloads of the satellites, that optical payloads and things like that. Then we are having a national remote sensing center, which is focusing on the data management from the satellite and things like that. Like that, it is spread over the entire country, different places, and in addition to the main centers, we are having a launching center at Sriharikota, the space SDSC is at Satish Dhawan Space Center. From there, that's a space for India. Everybody knows that. All the launch vehicles are taking off from Sriharikota range. So these are the main centers, and there we are having other laboratories at different places to strengthen our hands. So then some important information for you people, students, you may be looking for that. There is a institute called Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology in Trivandrum. It was started in 2007 with the vision that we can train the people, we can capture them young, and we can train or orient them towards the space science and programs. Like that, it was started, and by now we are having around 1,800 plus graduates, undergraduate, BTech degree holders came out of that institute, and around 600 plus PG students also came out, and 300 plus doctorate PhD graduates are also there from. Actually, in the BTech, they are having aerospace, BTech in aerospace, which is focusing on the aerodynamics, aerothermal, and the flight dynamics and things like that. Then we are having avionics, that it is nothing but electronics and communication, which is mainly oriented towards the launch vehicle avionics systems and things like that. Then we are having a dual degree program, that is very important, and it is having a BTech degree in engineering physics, plus an MS in astronomy or astrophysics, or an MS in solid state physics, or an MTech in earth science, or an MTech in optical engineering. You can choose as per your talent or as per your interest. So in addition to that, this institute is a very prestigious institute, and it is having tie-up with world-renowned institute like Caltech and Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Australian National University and Nanyang Technical University, and Lockheed Martin also having some tie-up, and you will get a lot of exposure. So if space thrills you, then you have to have an ambition to join ISRO. If space thrills you, it should be your this thing. So in brief, I am telling all these opportunities and all this exposure. There is opportunity in all the areas. India is also entering into a different path of growth. You know, the visionary Prime Minister and all other leaders now making it happen into emerge as a global power. So we are going to have a lot of opportunities. So you are the right people to take this to the final relay. The final race or the important race is happening. So you have to take this this responsibility and run faster. Okay, then this is about the space and space science satellite launch vehicle where we stand, and the institute which is having here the advantage is you will be having preference to get into ISRO if you are completing. A lot of other programs are there which is available in the internet also. Please see that. Then a few points, I think, I don't know how much more time I can take. I will take some few minutes and then we'll try to wind up. Then let us define, I told all these things, then let us have an understanding on the success of life. What is the success of life? So we have to keep in mind that success is a journey. It is not a destination. So it's a continuous process or it's a continuous journey. Similarly, the excellence also is a continuous process. It's a continuous process and not an accident. You cannot tell that you have excelled by achieving some specific target. It's a continuous process. So success also is a journey you have to keep in mind. And I can tell you that you can define success in such a way that, as I told you, the life itself is a journey, right? So at the fag end of your life, if you are looking back and if you can derive happiness or if you can smile at your path, whatever you have came out, if we can feel satisfaction that you have done something for the country or something for the world or something for the human being or something for your family, or like it varies from person to person. So if you can derive happiness and smile at your life, that is a success. Then only you can tell that you have succeeded, you have achieved success in your life. All other things are targets to achieve your final goal. Okay, now let us briefly touch upon the 7 points for success, especially for the students. So first of all, the most important thing is self-confidence. You should have self-confidence. You should have the confidence in you. You can do it. That mantra you should have in mind always. And at the same time, you should have a number 2 is self-respect. So self-confidence and self-respect are the 2 most important things to achieve success in life. Self-respect means all your words and all your deeds should be in such a way that you can derive, or anybody can derive, respect to you. So that you have to judge and you have to keep it in mind. All the students, please. Then number 3 is enjoy whatever you are doing. So now you are studying. So you treat all subjects as your friend. Don't hate any subject or hate anything now, because now you are duty bound to have some study. You can choose your field later. So when you're studying, you have to treat all the subjects as your friend. So approach all the subjects with an open mind. So then only it will be written on your subconscious mind. Otherwise, there is a conscious mind, there is a subconscious mind, and there is a superconscious mind. So unless it is written in the subconscious mind, it won't be coming again, and you won't be remembering that. So approach with an open mind, with a happy mind. The happiness can make you can observe when you are happy, your eyes itself will enlarge, right? When you're sad, everything will be contracting. When you're happy, everything will be opening or enlarging. So the happy mind can do a lot of wonders. So be happy always. Number 4 is now you are in a very important path in your life. So you have to realize your strength. So initially also I told you have to identify your strengths, and based on that you have to define your goals. At the same time, you have to dream big, like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir used to tell. You have to have a dream which won't allow you to sleep, not otherwise. Okay, so you have to dream big and define your goals. Don't think that you cannot achieve. You can achieve. So you have to plan for that. Then number 5, remember one factor: God is nothing but an energy. So we are all manifestation of the same energy. We are all manifestation, all the human being, all the living things, everything is manifestation of the same energy. So that is why it is in the physics, it is told that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It is omnipresent. Okay. So by realizing and harvesting your inherent strength, you are vitalizing that energy. That you have to keep in mind. So that will add to your self-confidence also. Number 6 is plan your steps to achieve your goals. So you have to plan your steps, how you are going to reach like the trajectory we are planning to reach the particular orbit, or the route map you are planning to reach a particular target point. You have to plan your goals or to achieve your goals in life. Plan your steps to achieve your goals in life. Then remember, always move ahead, never stop. So you have to fly to your goal. If you cannot fly, you have to run to your goal. If you cannot run, you have to walk to your goal. If you cannot even walk, you crawl to your goals. Always move forward. Delta increment should be there every day. So delta increment should be there in your attitude also. You have to compete with yourself of yesterday. Like that, you have to improve yourself. Then finally, the 7th point is respect others. All the people, see that divine energy in all the people. If you can able to see that we are all manifestations of the same energy, we can respect all the people. So see that divine energy in your mother, first father, your teachers, and your friends, and all the people. So you destroy your enemies. How you will destroy the enemy? By making them your friends. So even your enemies, you have to start loving and respecting. So you wish goodwill for everyone, that will automatically reflect on you. Okay. So that is where the famous Indian prayer, Loka Samasta Sugino Bhavantu. So with this word, I conclude my talk. And once again, thanking the organizers, Sri Ajay Kumar Pillai, President of this School Management Committee, for giving me this thing, and Dr. Rajiv Kumar, and all other members of this committee and this organizing committee, and the school management for giving this opportunity, and wish all the very best for all the students. Again, Loka Samasta Sugino Bhavantu. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the exhilarating session. Thank you, Dr. Shyam Mohan.
I'll be happy to take some questions if time permits.
Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing your first-time experience in reusable vehicle launch. Sir, we sincerely appreciate your love and affection to the youth. Sir, not only the computer, but even we agree that you're very cool. There is an announcement to the audience. Dear audience, do consider filling the feedback form to which is posted in the chat box. With your indulgence, sir, I would like to pose few queries by the audience. An interesting question. Sir, won't the debris in the orbits clump together due to the gravitational interaction, and that is a great threat?
Yeah, that's why I was mentioning about the space debris menace. And actually the debris, something with the orbital decaying, while entering the atmosphere, it will be burned into ashes, and it will be, once it is made into ashes, it is not having much threat. But in the orbit itself, if it is having a chance to collide with this thing, even our space station were maneuvered to avoid debris, because there is a lot of people who are studying the debris directions and the threat for with respect to the debris hitting and things like that. The probability and all, they will predict accordingly. The space assets will be maneuvered.
Moving on to the next question. Sir, does ISRO independently put astronauts in orbit land?
No, actually, these are all ISRO's future programs, because as I mentioned you, as an official who is working in ISRO now, I'm not supposed to discuss these things, especially on a webinar platform. Thank you.
So the last question of the session, does coding programming has career in ISRO?
Pardon?
Does coding and programming has career in ISRO?
Yeah, definitely. Lot of opportunities.
So one more question, does weather affects the signal of satellites?
Pardon?
Does weather affect the signal of satellites?
No, not much. So that will be taken care of.
Thank you, sir, for your brilliant answers. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks after an illuminating and edifying session. All glory to the Almighty for blessing us with this day and this event. At the outset, I wish to express my heartfelt thanks to His Majesty Haitham bin Tariq Al Zayed and his government for their benevolence towards the Indian community in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty bless His Majesty and this nation with peace and prosperity. On behalf of Indian School Muscat and the Indian schools in Oman, I extend a sincere gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Shyam Mohan, for the wonderful educative session. Thank you, sir, for your time and words. I would also like to thank our Honorable Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman, Dr. Baby Sam Samuel, and honorable members on the board, President, Indian School Muscat Management Committee, Mr. Ajay Kumar Pillai, esteemed members of the Indian School Muscat Management Committee, Honorable Principal, Indian School Muscat, Dr. Rajiv Kumar Chauhan, Presidents and esteemed members of all Indian School Management Committee in the Sultanate of Oman, Honorable Principals, Vice Principals, Assistant Vice Principals, Supervisors, Coordinators, Heads of Departments, Teachers, Parents and Students, thank you. A special mention of gratitude to the entire team of Indian School Muscat who have worked behind the screen for smooth conduct of Avenue 2020. I would be failing in my duty if I do not express my gratitude to the parents of all the students who have participated in today's program. Thank you for being a part of this beautiful morning. Have a great day.